Morality. This is often defined as the battle between right and wrong, good and bad. In our last talk, I said that I made a conscious choice to try to be a kind and compassionate person. So why did I make this choice? How did I conclude that kind and compassionate equals good? Why didn't I say, I'm going to try to be the best liar and cheater I can be? Would you be listening to this series if it were called Pathway to Becoming an Angry Old Hypocrite That Yells at Stuff? To navigate life, you will need to use your moral compass. Just as a regular compass points to magnetic north, a moral compass should point to what is good or right. As you move along your journey, you will need to learn to calibrate and recalibrate your moral compass. Is there a true north for all of us? Or do we each have a different magnetic pole that is a result of our unique formation? We all have a feel for what is good and what is bad. We have a sense of symmetry, proportion, and tone. As I say in my unpublished novel, 2000 AZ, sorry, I had to give myself a plug, right and wrong have a natural shape. A good example of this is music. The frequencies that we call notes are noteworthy because they fit our ears. If we had evolved differently, our music scale would sit in other parts of the spectrum. So, like an acorn to a squirrel, or coins to a piggy bank, music to our ears is like, well, music to our ears. There are things in this universe that just fit. Now, if we have a natural sense of good and bad, why do we need to have this talk? I doubt animals have such discussions. I've never met a weasel that studied morals and ethics, although maybe if they did, they wouldn't be such little weasels. Animals just go about their day. And if you were living alone, in your own independent cave away from other Homo sapiens, you'd just be another animal yourself. As part of nature, you'd live under the same laws as all other creatures. So what you should or shouldn't do would just come down to survival. What berries you can eat, what animals you can overpower or outwit, and where to poop. As long as you don't poison your watering hole or kill too many animals and ruin the balance of the ecosystem, could you do any wrong? Can you think of anything? I can't think of any animals that do wrong. Sure, they eat each other, but it's all in accordance with nature. Carnivorous predators aren't bad or evil because they eat prey. That's natural. However, something would be wrong if a usually gentle herbivore suddenly acted like a crocodile, or if a crocodile started hanging out with me and wanted to go vegan. Without the diet it evolved to consume, it would shrivel up and become part of your rich auntie's handbag collection. Thus, in your cave in isolation, there would be no wrong or evil, so long as you were going with nature. This is where it gets a bit tricky for us. Most members of a species are usually pretty much the same, even in looks. No offence, penguins, but there's a reason why there isn't a penguin version of Guess Who. But our kind is so varied, hence our human version of that family classic. We are all born with our own unique mutations. Sure, on average a lot of things are the same, but our differences mean that we can't expect everyone to behave exactly like everyone else. Seeing what everyone else is doing sometimes confuses us. We may think that we're weird. Well, the truth is, we are all weirdos. Physiologically speaking, we all have different sensitivities, tastes, and drives to reproduce. And psychologically and neurologically, well, that's a dog's breakfast in a whole other kettle of fish, playing a completely different ballgame altogether. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't do what the average person does, as long as you're obeying your nature. So doing the right thing means doing the right thing by you. This means self-knowledge. Dynamic up to the second self-knowledge is paramount in calibrating your moral compass. Be conscious and ask yourself whether or not your actions will advance you on your personal path, take you backwards, or have little or no effect at all. As you boys know, I'm extremely conservative. I don't drink, smoke, do drugs, gamble, or eat animals. I do my best to be a family man. I have cold showers. I'm rarely up past midnight, and when I am, it's because I'm writing. On a completely unrelated matter, if anyone knows why I don't have any friends, leave a comment down below. Now, I don't believe that this is the morally correct way to live. Rather, I choose to live like this because it fits with me. Of course, you are not me. And just as a person with a peanut allergy can't tell me not to eat those crunchy little legumes because it's not a good fit for their unique makeup, I can't tell you not to do something that fits you. So when it comes to your personal choices, as long as you're connected with your true self, you will make decisions that are right for you. However, it's not all about you, is it? You may be on your journey, but your path cuts through the same world as everyone else's. You live in society with loads of diverse people, and you will interact with them on varying levels of intimacy, from sharing a bed to fleeting transactions. The presence of another human, one that can communicate and has the same need for resources as you do, changes everything. Their mere presence alters the atmosphere of the place. Up until this point, nature has told you where you belong. Now you must know your place in relation to someone else. Thus, a deeper, wider, more considered kind of morality is needed. On this interpersonal level, how do we know what is moral? How do you know not to steal a colleague's muffin out of the office fridge? How do you know not to hide cards when playing Uno? How do you know that you shouldn't go around cupcaking people? My uneducated guess is that for a while there, we didn't know. In fact, we are still and always will be figuring things out. When two or more people get together, there is naturally conflict. Someone does something, someone pushes back, and violence, death, or peace results from it, depending on the chosen path. I'm sure many people died over workplace muffins before HR stepped in. Over time, hundreds, maybe thousands of years, this process of conflict and resolution smooths out, resulting in the evolution of systems and norms, or moral codes, if you will. And as you can see all over the world, they're unique according to each tribe's demographics, population, environment, and economy. Now, apart from losing employees, why would HR step in to stop people from being murdered over muffins? Couldn't they just let the strongest survive, so long as there weren't any drops in productivity? I mean, it's not really conflict if one side can simply overpower the other. If you were strong enough, what would stop you from wiping out a whole bunch of people from existence and having all the baked treats to yourself? Humans, and some animals such as elephants, have something called empathy. It's a kind of intelligence that gives us some understanding of how others feel. Just as mathematical intelligence tells us how numbers work, empathy tells us how people, and animals, should add and multiply. 2 + 2 = 5 doesn't feel right. Nor does hitting someone across the face with a pineapple. We just know. Goodness has a natural shape, remember? Of course, not everyone is good at maths, others are tone deaf, and thus, not everyone is great with empathy. I read somewhere that if you want to hurt others, you don't have a morality problem. You have an empathy problem. You have a connection problem. You have a communication problem. And you'll probably hurt yourself. This is a red flag and presents you with a great opportunity for growth. Talk to us or someone else you trust. Along with self-awareness, empathy will get your needle pointing the right way. We'll get into this in more depth in another talk, but for now, if you want to live in a moral way, you will need to consider the feelings of others as you move about in this world. Try to know the intent of your actions and their effect on yourself and everyone else. Without telling you what to do or who to be, I can guarantee you this. You will regret hurting others. You already know this from experience. You both get quite upset when you say something mean to each other or anyone else. Whenever it's happened, once we've talked through it, you realise it's your own issues you're dealing with. If and when you do hurt someone, please be a man about it and apologise sincerely. So know yourself, body, mind, and true self, and put yourself in charge of your own life and take responsibility. Make your morality personal. Own it. Live it. Be conscious of your beliefs and treatment of others. This is your moral code. Put your name on it and be accountable. Then life will be a natural flow. And when something arises where you are unsure of what to do, use empathy to think about how it affects others. If it doesn't involve anyone else, then it isn't a moral dilemma, but rather a question of growth. Drug use is a good example of this. We will have an in-depth talk about drugs another time, but in this example, I'll just say that it might be helpful to ask, will this help me grow into the person I want to become? This is a personal question. Other people are also free to make their own personal choices, and I hope you can respect that. Of course, our personal choices can sometimes leak into the lives of others. Drug use is a good example of this. Then it becomes a moral problem. As I've already said in a few of these talks, you will meet people who will tell you what to believe. They will tell you what is right and wrong in absolute terms. And the idea of individuals working out morality for themselves is terrifying to them. It's understandable. We all worry about what a human can become, as we all know what our kind is capable of. I know parents who don't even let their kids choose their own hairstyles, let alone their own beliefs. It's as if we don't trust each other to do the right thing, and only shame and punishment can keep us from acting immorally. Shame sucks. I hope you don't let anyone shame you for the choices that you make, and I hope you don't cast shame on anyone for their personal choices. Some people wield it as a weapon. They give particular looks, say awful things, and withhold love to force more desirable behaviours. Shame is so poisonous. It builds a dark place in your psyche and invites its stupid friends, like self-doubt, self-hatred, and self-destruction. It's a terrible squatter and can be so hard to get rid of. But don't worry, deep self-knowledge will set you free. As for punishment, the truth is, there are people so powerful that they escape all threats of punishment. From the ultra-rich to the ultra-strong, on some levels, these people can do anything they want. Heck, even a peasant like me can get away with almost anything if I'm smart enough, which I'm not, by the way. It is my hope that wherever you end up in life, however much power you have, whoever you come across, you are guided by self-awareness and empathy. I don't want you to be afraid of what mummy and daddy may think, or what society says is okay. Remember, you have your own mutation. I want you to understand, deep down, what it is that you are doing with yourself. That is a life truly lived. And yeah, you're going to make some mistakes, but that's just part of the process. So go easy on yourself. And everyone else. So to recap, the meaning of life is to grow into your true self. You will reach your true self through self-awareness. Self-awareness should help you make your personal choices, while empathy will guide your interpersonal ones. Hopefully you will choose a moral life and respect the choices that other people make. Alright kids, go have some fun. See you next time. Like and subscribe, and remember, you can be a plural.